people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
It is a little past 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and we welcome you back into Newsmax TV's continuing coverage of America Votes 2016. You just heard Donald Trump, a portion of his closing argument that he makes to the American people as he attempts to win the presidency tonight. But of course, he is getting competition from a former First Lady, former United States Senator, and former Secretary of State in Hillary Clinton. J.D. Hayworth here at our Newsmax National Anchor Desk, but I'm pleased to be joined from Newsmax New York for the next hour by my colleague Steve Malzberg, host of the Steve Malzberg Show, which you see weeknights at 7 Eastern here on Newsmax TV. Steve, we just heard Donald Trump, and that last ad really seemed to bring together the argument for him with 140 million voters casting ballots today. I'm just kind of curious, Steve, as we welcome you in here, do you think Trump's closing argument was enough to compel voters to go with his campaign?
It certainly should have been, J.D. Whether or not it was, I don't know. I'm a little concerned with the numbers out of Florida. Early lead for Hillary in Ohio, very early lead for Hillary in Ohio. And, if he loses Florida, then, basically we could all go home because there's not going to be a victory. At the same time, he's in trouble in Florida. Marco Rubio is doing well. So we have a split there as we could see, which leads you to ask the question, what happened? Why that kind of a split if, in fact, those numbers hold up? I thought he was on message. I thought he was on message for the last 2 weeks of the campaign. I thought the closing message was right on target, even when it came to the FBI and Hillary, when he said, hey, she's not going to be held accountable. You, the voter, could hold her accountable. That's the only way. He also said this is our last chance. And there are many smarter than I who say that if we don't elect a Republican president tonight, it's going to be a long time, a very long time, if ever, that we elect a Republican president again. So it could be a very, very bad night for America, in my view, if these numbers, some of them, hold up.
Well, of course, it is early in a lot of places, but some of the cable networks are making their decisions. And we can tell you right now, as 16 polling places or 16 states have closed polling, just at 8 o'clock Eastern, already the Fox News channel projects both Missouri and Tennessee in the column for Donald Trump. Meantime, for Hillary Clinton, Fox News projects Illinois and New Jersey for the Democrat nominee. Now, Steve referenced some of the results. Let's take a look elsewhere at what we are seeing in terms of election returns. And we can also take stock of what we have on the electoral map. Let's review. You saw Hillary Clinton, the winner in Vermont. Donald Trump, the winner in Kentucky. Donald Trump, the winner in the Hoosier state of Indiana, from whence comes his running mate, Mike Pence, and Donald Trump, the winner in West Virginia tonight. Also, Donald Trump is projected to win the Palmetto state of South Carolina. And as we prefaced earlier, early on in North Carolina, Mr. Trump with a lead 63% to 36%. Now, in terms of the electoral count, very early, and it's changing based on some projections, Donald Trump enjoyed at the outset a 33-3 lead in electoral votes based on the projection. What do we need to tell you? It remains very early tonight, and we will have to continue to take a closer look. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have our friend Newsmax TV political analyst Dick Morris joining us via Skype. Dick has been keeping a close eye on things tonight. Dick, is it going according to what you thought we would see thus far?
It's going fairly well. I think Steve might be prematurely drinking the Kool-Aid here. In Florida, Now, the percent of the vote in is difficult to see. The Florida Board of Elections says 26 is in. Fox News says 75 is in. But looking at the raw numbers, it looks to me at about 2/3 of the vote is in. And Hillary has got a 100,000 vote lead, which works out to just slightly more than 1% of the vote. Now, if Hillary continues to lead in Florida until we get a little further in the count, all is not lost, because the Panhandle, which is heavily Republican, closes last. They close their books at about, right now, at 8 o'clock, whereas the rest of the state closed an hour early. So their count, obviously, is not going to start coming in until now and for the next 45 minutes or hour. And given the speed with which the rest of the state is being counted, which is amazing, I think that it's possible that you may see Trump closing very strong in Florida and perhaps carrying the state. The other indication that I think is significant is that in Indiana and Kentucky, the two states that closed the earliest and therefore the ones where the vote count is the most progressed, Trump is running in Indiana 6 points ahead of Romney, and in Kentucky 5 points ahead of Romney. Well, that's important. Romney won by 4%. So that's a significant margin. We just don't know anymore, but there was a slight implication in some of the stuff that Steve was saying of concern, and it's not time for concern yet. We're doing very well, and let's just stay in there and keep counting.
All right, well, Dick, I certainly hope you're right. What about the early returns from North Carolina? And of course, North Carolina, one of the key districts, a very strong African-American presence, Durham, is staying open 90 minutes longer because the Board of Elections says there were computer problems earlier in the day. Barack Obama got 76% in both 2008 and 2012 in that area. Is that problematic or an advantage Hillary in that matter?
Well, they may be trying to jimmy the results by keeping it open longer in the black areas, but I still have to go with the fact about North Carolina going into the election, which is that Romney carried it, and Trump is doing better among absentee and early voting than Romney did, which overall is a pretty good indication. North Carolina is very slow in counting, so we don't have any real numbers there that we can pay much attention to yet.
Dick, the conventional wisdom, and we heard it from Steve, if Florida goes to Hillary, Trump can kiss it off. Do you share that view?
Not technically speaking. I think he's going to win Colorado, which is 8 votes. Ohio, Iowa, and Colorado bring him up to, and North Carolina bring him up to 238. And for the remaining votes, he could look to New Hampshire for 4, maybe Michigan for 16, maybe Pennsylvania for 20. There are other places he could get the votes. But if he loses Florida, I think his chances of winning the election are significantly reduced.
All right, Dick, we appreciate it. Then we will continue to welcome your insights as the evening wears on. Let's welcome in 2 other high-powered political panelists. First, from Newsmax New York, the former Lieutenant Governor of the Empire State, Betsy McCoy, and from Southern California, the son of President. Actually, he is in New York tonight. How about that? Look, it's our friend Michael Reagan coming to the East Coast. You can find and follow Michael on Twitter. His handle is @ReaganWorld. Thanks to you both. Ladies first, Betsy, tonight, is it going as you envisioned?
It's a nail biter. I was a little disturbed, as Steve was, about the early numbers coming in from Florida, but the point that Dick made is so important, that the Panhandle stays open an hour later. So we just cannot take those numbers at face value until we see the returns coming in from the Panhandle. And of course, we're all very, very tense over what's happening in North Carolina, but we need to see more numbers before we can even begin to draw a conclusion there. So North Carolina, Ohio, Florida, those are the 3 states where we're most focused right now. And other than that, no surprises yet.
Michael, welcome to New York. It's great to see you here. And, you've been through so many presidential elections, a couple of them really up close and personal. So what are you thinking right now as you see the results coming in, and you see the numbers starting to formulate? And it's in Florida right now, it is a nail biter.
Yeah, it's a nail biter, and I was listening to what you were saying about the votes that have come in so far, and I agree with you. Donald Trump cannot afford to lose Florida tonight. If he loses Florida, I think it is all over, no matter what some other people are saying about this election, because it'll be just a bellwether for other things that are going to happen as we move across this country. Hey, I happen to like landslides. It's really nice when the president calls your father at 5 o'clock at night when he's in the shower and says, "I give up." That's always a nice thing, but that's not going to happen tonight. It hasn't happened in the last couple of elections. So I'm just to see how it plays out, but I think within the next hour, we'll have a pretty good idea who's going to come away tonight as the next president of the United States of America.
Betsy McCoy, to you.
What's
Go
really-
ahead. Go ahead, Betsy.
I was just going to say that the liberal elite media for so long literally wrote off the possibility of a Donald Trump victory. And so they already have a little mud on their faces because it has tightened up so much. And when I watch the other cable news networks and regular networks talking about how tight this is now, oh, if only we could call them on what they said 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's always very
Betsy,
interesting.
if I could jump in.
Yeah, go ahead,
If I
Michael.
could
Got
jump
about a
in for
minute left. Go ahead, sir.
The reality of it is the Republican Party was writing off Donald Trump as the eventual winner of the president of the United States of America. Not just the liberal media, but also the Republican Party in mass has also written him off. Grassroots hasn't, but above grassroots, never gave him a chance.
One of the topics we can revisit in just a second as we all come back. In the interim, as you watch us wherever you may be, we're very interested in finding out, who did you vote for? And that's why we want you to get on your computer and log on to newsmaxpolls.com and share with us who your choice was for president today, and we'll see how that stacks up as we monitor that. The whole notion of Republican unity and the GOP, did Republicans rally to Trump's side in time, or will the populist infusion of support carry him to victory? Another topic we'll discuss as we continue Newsmax TV's coverage of America Votes 2016.